Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Elias and welcome back to Project Ozone 2. In the last episode, we were working on, we were trying to automate the Eternal Singularities, which we'll get to in just a moment. And things weren't going too well. Things didn't work the way I wanted them to work, and we need to do some work on that. I do know a way to kind of handle it, and it will work this time, unlike last episode. But last episode, we also went ahead and started getting producing plastics, and we get some more coal in there, and it will do its thing. I actually AFK'd for quite a while between episodes, so yeah, that is a thing. We could add just a bunch more coal. That would give us a bunch more plastic if we want. Got about a stack of each, but probably wouldn't hurt. So let's just get our inventory full of coal. Not coal coke, just normal coal. And we'll get started on what I want to do. So this episode is going to be probably broken up a little bit because I'm going to need to do a lot of work off camera. But that's okay. That happens. And all in all, like, shouldn't be too much of a problem. But, yeah. So, between episodes, like I said, I spent a lot of time AFKing. I actually filled up a bunch of bedrockium drums. And we can go ahead and go back to the last millennium. So, I filled up a bunch of bedrockium drums with mob essence. So, we have these guys, like, completely full. And all of these guys are completely full. So we have a ton of essence to spawn in our EMC. And I will do that off camera because I don't want to, like, lag the server. Or, it's not even a server, it's a single player world. But I don't want to lag my world while I'm recording. So, yeah, we had this dire autocrafting table set up trying to make the Eternal Singularities, which requires, well, this recipe. And it was not too bad, but the problem we're running into is we need a way to tell the system, however we transfer, to only keep a stack of these items in at a time. In newer versions of Ender.io, there is a counting filter, which would allow us to do that pretty easily, and that, unfortunately, is not in this version. So we have to find something else. And we have these rationing pipes. Rationing pipes work great. They do exactly what we want them to. They will keep a stack of an item in an inventory for whatever you're pulling out. So that is great. But the problem is, actually, could we do it that way? Huh. We're going to do a really quick experiment. I'm going to put the manual in here. We're going to do a really, really quick experiment. And this might be easier than I thought. So what we could do, we have this drawer system already set up. And there is a couple of ways we can handle this. But if we break this diamond chest, just to bring it closer. What's one that I'm not going to care too much about? Doesn't matter. This is not connected to all of these guys. So these guys will not start running until I hook that back up, and I don't want to hook that back up yet. For the main reason is I don't want to have a ton of excess like we currently already do. So let's just do this one, I guess. Does this have a lot? It does. Okay, so we're gonna put the diamond chest here, and I just want to see what happens. What happens if we put a transfer node here and give it a rationing pipe? Oh, right, that's the problem. Okay, so this would work, and it will keep a stack of the items in. But it doesn't work how we need it to. The main reason is, while it will keep a stack of all the items in, if it decides to try to pull out, let's say, Invar, once there's a stack of Invar in here, it won't pull anything else out. So we need to have 33 transfer nodes. That is the key to this. Now, the problem with that is, how do we get 33 transfer nodes on here? Well, we have to use a new block. So we have the drawer controller, and we need something else to do this. And this is what we're going to get into. By the way, this is going to be for later in the episode, but I've started building something right down here we're going to have another platform. Wow, surprising. And that one is going to be for the dire autocrafting tables. You'll see why in a little bit, but I'm starting to run out of things to do because it's just taking a while to prep everything. I'm currently making a bunch of chipsets. As you can see, we had all these, I think, last episode. And just kind of trying to get stuff. I still haven't fixed the runes, but that should be pretty easy. And once I fix that, we'll be able to get the runes pretty simply. And yeah, we'll set a lot of things up and teach the system how to do some really cool things. One thing we might want to do is have more crafting. That might be something at some point, but the other big thing is we're going to probably want to get more fluid transposers, and there's a lot of things we're going to want to mass produce. Mass production is going to go here, so things like the circuit fabricators and all that kind of fun stuff. But then here we're going to have a lot of different things like the energy condensers and whatever else we can find that's just going to help make things. I want to see something real quick. Let's find an item that does not have EMC. Something I don't really care about. Can we put this in here? No, we cannot. Okay, good to know. Alright, so how we are going to do this whole thing, we need to go here, and I have pretty much everything we need. We need transfer nodes, we need filters, we're going to need rationing pipe, just a single rationing pipe, and transfer pipes. And what we're going to use is a drawer controller slave. Controller slave is what it's called. And what that is basically this is another input-output for our drawer system. And that should be everything we need. We just need 33 of... Actually, we don't even need 33 of those. But we're also probably going to want some trim. Jungle trim should work just fine. This allows us to kind of extend where the controller can see. So what we're going to do, basically what the controller slaves are is they allow input-output without actually having to touch, without having to be the controller. The controller can still see the same range. It's like a 12 by 12, like it's a 12 by 5 or something in every direction, or something like that. I don't know the exact range of the drawer controller, but if we were to put like a controller slave here and put a transfer node on here, it will pull out something. And so what we're going to do is one, break the transfer node, two, break that. And notice that we got ruby singularities. Not anything from here, not the first item or anything. We kind of got a random item. So what we're going to do is down below. So here is the two issues. We're gonna break that, and we're gonna break that. So this guy needs to be pink, because we're gonna put this stuff below here, and we're gonna do something like this. So this is gonna be insert on magenta. I do believe is the color. Yes. And we're going to have to go down here instead, so that we can get some better spacing for these controllers. So if we put jungle trim here and here, we can basically have things go wherever we want. And we can do something like this. And what I want to do is use these controller slaves for getting items into here. And if we just put, for example, so one thing I can do, by the way, is I can put I cannot put the rubies back in like that. Okay. So what we can do is if we just get a filter. So let's get a piece of iron. We'll get a filter, and we'll filter it with iron. And we come down here, and here's the cool thing. We have, if we're careful about this, 5 sides that we can use for each controller slave. So if we put the filter in here and take the rubies out, it'll start collecting iron singularities. And then we can just transfer pipe those all in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take me a bit. I'm going to get enough controller slaves hooked up, all filtered up, so that we can get everything taken care of. So I'm going to need all that stuff, and then we'll come back once I'm ready to plug it into the this guy. And I might go ahead and start building a little bit more of the quartz platform. So that is what I'm going to do, and I will be back once that's done. Alright, somehow this didn't take that long, whereas building the rest of that platform did. So yeah, a little bit later. So this is still disconnected, and I actually went ahead and disconnected the jungle trim, which I realize I don't have any over here. Do I? Nope, not at all. But I went ahead and got all the filters set up, and it's not too bad. It looks kind of ucky, but it should work just fine. It should work exactly how I want it to, and we're gonna test that out right away. So the idea with this is that we can make eternal singularities, and what we'll end up doing is probably I'll talk about that in a little bit actually, but this will make eternal singularities kind of constantly. The only reason it's not making any right now is because it needs manualin, and I didn't put that in there. So assumingly once we put the jungle trim right back on here, it should kick off and start working. Now, as you can see, it looks kind of like a mess. There are 4 nodes here and here, 5 on there. 5 times, that's what? No, it's 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 5. So that's 25 plus 8 is 33, which is exactly how many we need. The most important thing here is this rationing pipe. This should only allow a single stack to go into there, and then once we're ready, we put a conduit here, and it will fill up from these guys, and then we just turn this guy on, and everything works. So let's see if this does what I think it will. I have no idea where the actual filters all are, but they're just kind of all around. So it's starting to take stuff. The question is speed. Now that is an actual concern. So this has iron singularities. This has nickel. So those are filling up. And iron and all that kind of stuff is not going in there. So one bad part of this is that we're not going to be able to see specifically like what is where. And something else that seems to be weird. Do we have extra? Okay, so I can take these out. We're gonna put one in here. I kind of want to let this fill up, and maybe looks like something might have went wrong. I don't know. Let's see. These are all full lead, and they are searching for inventories. That is the only thing that's going to be kind of slow. We can speed that up with, well, speed upgrades. So this will go here. Let's get a peridot singularity here. And cyanite. I had this already filled up, so I wonder what happened there. Dark steel and then energetic. So what we're gonna do is real quick, we're just gonna try to put all this stuff back in. And they all fit, which is good. And everything's gone again. Okay, we're gonna disconnect that. That is worrying. And I wonder if it's because of this mess of transfer pipes. So I might mess around with this, and what I might actually do... How do I want to deal with this? So if I take the manualin out, how many manualins do we have here? We have none in there now. So the question is, are they like trapped in the pipes? Because there should only be one stack per everything. And one way we can find this out, we have inventory. If we break this, we break that. Nothing. Okay, so where is this stuff going? None of the conduits are attached to it, so it can't be going anywhere like that. I hope I'm not losing a bunch of stuff. It looks mostly full. What are we missing? That's the only... Okay, so it's going to start making them. And that seemed to work just fine. Okay, so... what I'm going to do is I'm going to mess around with this and kind of make sure that everything's working properly. I'm going to clean up whatever... I don't know that I can clean up the pipes all that much, but if we put some speed upgrades in these, that should be super helpful. And I'm just going to leave this kind of for now. But what we can do is we can go ahead and take the 7 Eternal Singularities and... or I guess 8, because I think that's as many Emerald Singularities as we had. Diamond is all filled up as well. So for the most part, like, this is going to be limited on what we can do in terms of singularities. But as you can see, we're starting to get stuff coming through. I might change how this works. We'll see. I'll think about that a little bit, because what we could do is we could just move this to the overworld and move this to the overworld and make it a little bit nicer. You'll see what I mean very soon, but let's go to the overworld and start talking about this stuff. So we have some Eternal Singularities, and what else do we need? Eternal Singularities are actually way down here, and we're going to need a couple of these here. Now in this dire crafting table, I have been working on getting more auto crafting tables, and what we're gonna do, and this is why I built another platform, is we are gonna start working on getting those guys, getting the auto crafting tables set up down here. So how we're going to do that is we can get plenty of channels from an enemy controller pretty easily, and I don't anticipate needing more than 32. Don't think that will be a problem. It's going to be a little bit of a problem getting them over, but I'll deal with that between episodes. That's not a big deal right now. Let's just grab this. And I'm just going to put a dense cable basically here to signify that we're going to have channels over here. And so what we're going to do is we are going to start working on automation for various things, but specifically things that we need include... Oh, by the way, something else I should mention. This is something I'll do between episodes as well. This guy, I'm going to replace this LPG drum with something a little bit better. Specifically, we're gonna probably have a cow setup in the last millennium for LPG. I believe we have a couple cows already, so I'm just gonna use one, and we'll have bedrockium drums and all that fun stuff, and then an ender tank to bring it over here. And I'll just use an ender tank for this, and that will give us a lot more plastic. We currently have like 200, and by the way, I have some unassembled PCBs already. So that is something that I'm going to need to work towards later as well. No big deal on that though. So we'll work towards getting, I'll work towards getting a bunch of circuits and all that kind of stuff, circuit boards specifically, and we'll worry about that later. It's not too big of a concern right now. But yeah, it's something I'll probably end up doing if I remember to. And then once I don't remember to, I will regret it and have to do it later. Anyways, so yeah, these dire auto-crafting tables, we can make quite a few. They are going to require chaos catalyst, so we need to automate as much of this stuff as we can. And I think I will probably bring the Eternal Singularities over. The way we'll handle that is... Oh man, how are we going to handle that? That is going to be a problem. Because I want that set up in the last millennium. I think we're going to have to keep that set up in the last millennium because we don't actually use the singularities themselves very often. So like most of these have no use other than a few like Lumium, Redstone, Electrotine. There's a few that have some uses, but for the most part they don't. So what I'll have to do is I'm going to transport things using Ender chests back to the overworld so that we can do auto-crafting stuff with them. I don't know that we're actually going to auto-craft the Chaos Catalyst and the Chaos... we should probably auto-craft the Chaos Catalyst at some point. That might not be a bad idea, but we'll kind of play it by ear. But one of the big things is for this stuff, we're going to need to automate the Infinity Catalyst. So this thing will need to be automated. We're going to need to automate the Cosmic Meatballs as well as Ultimate Stew. So those are kind of important things. And for the most part, should not be too bad. And we can kind of put those together, I think. So, yeah, we're going to Cosmic Meat and Ultimate Stew. Now the other one, the Indus Pearls, are EMCable, so we don't have to worry about those. Anything else in here? There's a couple of things that are not EMCable, but we'll worry about that. Most of this stuff is very easily made at this point for us because we have either a ton of EMC or better stuff and whatnot. So we're going to get a couple crafters. I want a couple of these guys. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to kind of demonstrate this, and I'm going to set this mostly up off camera. Expect that to be kind of the thing for a lot of these episodes from here on out. We're not going to be able to kind of do too much crafting and stuff on camera just because we need such mass quantities. And a lot of the automation, I'm going to set up a little bit of it, and then it's going to be a lot of the same. It's going to be very similar to the singularities we just did. We just have to do that a lot of times, and I need to kind of AFK for a long time. So as problems kind of arise and we need to get certain items, for example, like the palladium crystals, we had to get those. So we built this system down here. That kind of stuff I'll do more on camera, but most of the rest of this mod pack is going to be, at least until we can get a good amount of chaos ingots and chaos catalysts and all that kind of fun stuff, a lot of this is going to be kind of AFK automation stuff. So that is just kind of what it is. But what I'm going to want is an ender chest. We're going to get a couple ender chests. And I'm going to keep a couple ender tanks on me as well. And what we're going to want to do as to help is the MK2s. We're going to want a lot of energy condensers. And we're just going to put that in there. That's going to eat a ton of things, and we're not going to get that many more. So why do we want these energy condensers? Well, that's how we're going to get a lot of stuff. With the exception of the meat ingots, raw meat ingots, which we need this whole setup for, most of the stuff is going to be coming from EMC. So for example, the cosmic meatballs, fish, pork chops, chicken, beef, imp hide, and mutton are all EMCable. So we're going to need, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of these guys for that. So let's just kind of get this set up and kind of understand what's going on. So the ultimate stew, for example, most of this stuff is EMCable. with the exception of like a few of the berries and stuff. So we're going to be fairly conservative about that. And got to figure out a couple of ways to make things kind of nice. The problem we're going to run into is with something like this, we're going to want a stack of everything, and the only thing that's probably not going to be stacked often is the neutrons. We'll kind of do those as we need it, but this is full enough that it should be easy enough to get. We're just going to need a lot of energy condensers. Now, all this EMC stuff we're going to need, EMC. That's what the ender chest is for. We are going to be extracting our octuple compressed cobblestone. I will probably use, so it's black, black, black. And we're going to kind of divvy it up. So for example, with the cosmic meatballs, this is all 64 EMC. That is much, much less than what we need. So we're going to use a couple crafters to turn that into much lower tier cobblestone. It'll fill up a lot faster, and it'll just be better in general. So do we have any octuple at all? No, of course not. It's all being used. If we head to the last millennium, we can kind of get some going. I'm going to turn this on for a moment, and then I'm going to run over here. And so basically what we're going to do is have a system kind of like this, where we're going to make lower tiers cobblestones and give that to a bunch of energy condensers that then produce what we need. So I'm going to turn this off now. I'm going to run that off camera because, as you can see, frame rate kind of tanks. I just want like one or a few. Okay, and you can go ahead and do your thing. Make some more nether stars. And we can set all this stuff up and it'll work just fine. So kind of the problem with all this is going to be figuring out if we have enough space here. So like ultimate stew is probably going to be back here. Infinity catalyst will probably be up front. This is, or like, you know, we're going to have multiple areas. So we're gonna work on the cosmic meatballs right here. So we'll need a dire auto crafting table. For now, I'm just gonna put a jungle trim or something, and we'll probably fill it up from below. This one is gonna have the problem of it needs. Actually, let's just use a chest because that will demonstrate exactly what we need without any problems. So there's going to be a couple things we're going to need to start working on. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. That should be fine. There's a couple things we're going to need to start working towards. And one of the things is like we have the meat ingots over here. That's fine and everything. But we need to get the meat ingots over there. And I could just manually like walk them over there, but it'll be easier to just transfer them. What we'll probably do is just have ender chests. That seems to make the most sense. So the other thing is this compacting drawer. This honestly makes enough pile of neutrons that I'm not going to worry about it. So we might just put you might have guessed it, another ender chest. That one will need a filter though. So assuming we have that, and then we'll have to hook into this guy at some point so that we can get the berries for the ultimate stew. That won't be too bad. And then just kind of getting everything to where it needs to be. And then anything that is too hard to get over there, and we can't use like an ender chest or something, we will put into our AE system and then just use channels. We can do imports and all that kind of stuff. And import buses, I should mention, do allow for multiple items, so that will be fine. And we can fill up chests and whatnot. It will work out fine. We'll figure things out as they go. But the problem with the meatballs is that we're going to need 2 of each of these items. So Let's pretend we're gonna have neutrons, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the meat. So we have all of these chests, and I'm not going to put them like this. I'm probably going to make them a little bit nicer and all that kind of fun stuff. But what we need to do is get two stacks of each item into our crafting table. So except for the neutrons, that will just be direct one stack, and we'll do that just like we did with everything else. This time though, it's going to be easier because they're not in a storage drawer. So we're going to need plenty of transfer nodes and rationing pipes and whatnot. Probably some filters at some point, and a lot of things. We're going to need a lot of things. So yeah, we'll break down these guys to, like, we have 43 million EMC from one octuple compressed cobblestone. That's way too much for this purpose. So we'll have to break that down to probably tier 5, tier 4 even, cobblestone. So EMC for this one is not going to be a problem. And we can also stack these, which is nice. And getting enough EMC in is not going to be a problem either. So it's just going to be a matter of getting 2 stacks of items in here. And I'm trying to think of a way we could do that without causing issues. Because let's get some items. Let's get some. I guess let's just get like pork chops or something. I have a ton of these, so let's just get a bunch of these. And we'll kind of play around with chests. So something we can do. Let's get our golden bag of holding. I'm gonna dump some of this stuff in here. And so what we can do, and this is kind of weird, but we can make mini chests. These are actually pretty useful. So what we can do with this is these mini chests will only hold a single stack of items. So we can use that to help. But the question is, if we have 2 mini chests, and let's get transfer pipes and rationing, transfer nodes and rationing pipes, we're going to put a stack of pork chops in each of these. And I want to grab some more rationing. I want to grab some more rationing pipes. Whoops. Let's get a couple stacks of those. Alright, so if we have a chest that can obviously store more than 1 stack of items, we're going to put a rationing pipe on it. And we're going to get, let's move this over. We're going to get 2 of these guys. And they're going to fill up, whatever. Let's go ahead and fill these up with pork chops, and then make sure these are full. I will probably get speed upgrades. That'll probably be something that'll help all of our stuff. And then we get a rationing pipe into a chest. It puts exactly 1 stack and not the other. Now what if we put another rationing pipe and we have some normal pipes? No, of course not. Now these we can manipulate. I just want to see what happens, because otherwise I got to come up with something else to do. And that's going to be kind of a pain. So we get another nothing. Let's just make sure that these guys all have plenty of perks. So what if we break I want to break this connection. Or even better, let's break this and this. Now, is it smart enough if we put a transfer node here, a stack in there, and a stack in there? It is smart enough that this is the same item. It can't go in there twice. Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out something tricky to basically trick these guys into placing exactly 2 stacks and nothing more. Now, here is the cool thing. We can control basically we can control the number of items if we limit certain items. So what we can do now, because that just fill up the other ones. Oh man, I'm gonna have to think about this. But what we're gonna have is down here we're gonna have multiple little stations for probably. I think what we're gonna automate is the Chaos Catalyst, the Infinity Catalyst, Cosmic Meatballs, and Ultimate Stews. So luckily most of this is not too bad, but we're gonna have to do some finicky things with the Ultimate Meatballs. So I'm gonna look into that and see if I can figure out a good way to have this store 2 stacks and not anything more. What I could always do is something like, you know, you have 2 stacks of an item filter. No, that won't work. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Because unfortunately we don't have those counting upgrades, which would be really, really, really nice. It's unfortunate, but it just kind of is. So I'm going to work between episodes trying to get some automation up and running. And I'm going to make a couple more. I'm going to make one more auto crafting table. At the very least for the, I think the meatballs is what we need more than the ultimate stew. Yeah, I have a lot of the ultimate stew just lying around. Not so much with the meatballs. So that is something that I'm going to have to deal with. And the other thing that I'm going to have to do is work towards getting the Infinity Catalyst, because we need those as well. And that is a little bit of a pain just because of everything, but I'm going to get one of those recipes done, and we will be able to automate stuff a little bit better. And I'm going to work towards just kind of getting everything set up for automation so that once we get some more Chaos Catalysts, we can make everything. So that's going to involve making a couple more, probably another dire crafting table, which is not that big of a deal. Or just using this one, actually. I might use this one for now, just to get the 2 things we need, and just get all the automation set up. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to figure that out and figure out the problem with the Cosmic Meatballs. And then next time, hopefully we can get a little bit better automation going, so that we can... Basically, I'll check in with you guys and show you everything that I've been doing, everything that's done, and hopefully I can figure out the Eternal Singularities as well, because those were acting weird. I have no idea what's up with this system. I'm gonna work on it and see what I can figure out. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.